morning everyone. Today we are going to learn about the chapter Transpiration. As in previous classes we learned and understood how transport in a plant takes place, and I mentioned a factor that is responsible for that transport, and that factor was transpiration. So this factor, transpiration, it defines as it is the process, or transpiration is the process of water movement through a plant and its evaporation from aerial parts such as leaves, stems and flowers. So transpiration basically is the loss of water from the aerial parts. What happens is when the temperature increases, these are the factors like temperature, or there is no humidity, or there is a lot of humidity. These are all factors. But a common term that we can give to transpiration is the loss of water from the aerial parts of the plant. The aerial parts such as the parts which are above the soil. So roots are below the soil, and the other part which comprises of the plant, the rest of the part is known as the, or you can say termed as aerial parts. So aerial parts of the plant, when they lose water by the process of movement, then it is known as transpiration. So transpiration is of three different types. Those three types are stomatal transpiration, cuticle transpiration, lenticular transpiration. These are the three basic types of transpiration. So when we learn about transpiration and how a plant or a tree is losing water, then these three types are the important topics that we need to know about transpiration. These are stomatal, cuticular and lenticular. So stomatal transpiration is the transpiration or the loss of water which takes place from the stomata. As the stomata opens and closes during the day, then what happens is that they lose water in the form of evaporation or water vapor, and it is about 92 to 97%. The most amount or the largest amount of transpiration that takes place is through stomata only, and hence it is known as stomatal transpiration. Next is lenticular transpiration, which is about 2 to 5%. So which is about 0 to 1%. Cuticular, however, is about 2 to 5%. So cuticle transpiration. When you see a leaf, there is a waxy coating over it, and that coating is known as cuticle, and the transpiration, it is there to stop transpiration, to stop the loss of water from happening. But still, it loses about 2 to 5% of water, the total number of transpiration that is taking place in a plant. Whereas lenticular transpirations, these are the spaces or the lenticels present on a bark of tree or a plant. They have small openings which is about 0 to 1% or 0.1%. The least of transpiration takes place from there. So you need to understand and know that these are the three types of transpiration, and this is how transpiration in a plant takes place. So repeating again, transpiration is the loss of water from the aerial part of plant in the form of water vapor, or it is the evaporation of water. So now we have known what is transpiration. We know it's 3 types. We know how much, 40% of percentage of transpiration takes place. But what is the real significance about transpiration? And we'll see about that. And you can also go through your books and see all those significances and read in detail about them. The significance or the importance, or you can say how it is being the important factor in the life of a plant, are the significances of transpiration. What it is doing. Number 1, uptake of minerals. Transpiration helps in uptake of minerals. So as I have told you previously in the previous chapter also, that as transpiration takes place, so it is removing water from the plant, and at the same time it is creating a pressure which acts on a plant, and hence it also helps in uptaking of the minerals, because minerals and salts and nutrients, they come from soil, and soil, they come with the water, and water, when it is lost, then they also helps in uptake of minerals. The second point is cooling. When during the day it gets very hot, or during summers when there is so much of heat or sunlight, so the plant tends to become or gather heat. So transpiration also helps in cooling the plant. So can also helps in reducing the amount of heat that is stored inside the plant, and it is released by water, because water has a very good latent heat capacity which releases heat when it converts from water to water vapor. The third point is turgidity. Turgidity is the pressure that is created inside a cell by the cell itself. So inside the plant, in order for the plant to stay firm and to stay good, in good shape, and to withstand all the weight, the cells of the plant needs to be turgid. So it creates a turgidity. At the same time, when transpiration is happening, then it is reducing the excess of pressure that is inside the plant. So the significance of transpiration are these 3 points. One is uptake of minerals, the other is cooling, the third is turgidity. Now we'll see the factors that affect transpiration. The factors affecting transpiration. What are those factors that are affecting transpiration? And these factors are here: temperature, humidity, wind, soil moisture, and types of or a type of plant. Transpiration, when we understand the basic meaning and concept of transpiration, we also understand that how the physical forces in physics and chemistry takes place. And when we are learning in 10th standard, we have to keep in mind all the aspects of science. So, if we look at number 1 point, temperature. So what happens when temperature increases? When you increase temperature of a glass or something and there is water, what will happen? The first thing that happens is that it will absorb heat, and there will be so much of heat inside the water that it will turn, because the molecules the kinetic energy of the molecules will increase, and they will start to vibrate the electrons of that, and they move to a different state that is known as gaseous state, and hence the transpiration will increase. So the factors that affect transpiration are temperature. When there is more temperature, there will be more transpiration. How about humidity? Humidity, some people know it, some don't. most people understand that there is humidity. Today it's a humid day. So when there is humidity, what happens? Transpiration, it increases or decreases? It decreases, because humidity is the percentage of moisture present in the environment in that particular area. So humidity also has a control over transpiration. When there is a lot of humidity, then there will be less transpiration, because outside there will be a lot of moisture. Third point is wind. Wind is when you put a plant in a windy region, then what will happen? The wind will remove, or it will take away with it the amount of moisture which is around the plant. And so when there is lot of wind, or when it is a windy day, so the wind is another form of factor that influences transpiration. The other factor that is soil moisture and type of a plant. Soil moisture is the amount of water present in the soil, and we know that it is the evaporation of water from the aerial parts of the plant, which is known as transpiration. So when there is less soil, less water in soil, then there will be less transpiration. The other is type of plant. The type or variety of plant also have the impact on transpiration, because some plants are made in such a way that they require very less water, hence their outer coating is very thick. This is why they do less transpiration. Now let us look at the other point, which are the adaptations. Adaptation in plants are the modifications in plants to reduce transpiration. So these adaptations are the things that plants have done throughout their lives, or you can say from the evolutionary period. These adaptations are that if they thrive in conditions like desert or dry lands, they will have hard coating, thick cuticle, thorny leaves, or leaves would be very thin. These things are there to reduce the rate of transpirations, and these are known as the adaptations. Now, the most important of them all, before I discuss this, I want to show you a table. It is the comparison between transpiration, evaporation, and guttation. But I will tell you that guttation, which is a very important point and a question which comes in board exams most often than the others. Guttation is the oozing of water from specialized pores known as hydrocarbons. So when there is a lot of root pressure which is developing inside a plant, and that water has to be released, then what happens is that on the edge of the leaf there are specialized pores. These pores are known as hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are releasing the water. Next we have bleeding. Bleeding is a process by which when a surface of a plant is cut, then cell sap comes out. And when it comes out, when it is there, so this process is known as bleeding. Because cell sap is present inside the plant, and when you break a twig of a plant or do something, you will see this happen. Now, look at this table of comparison. This table will tell you about the comparison between transpiration, guttation, evaporation. Loss of water from the aerial surface of the plant is transpiration. Loss of water in the form of water droplets from the leaf margins are known as Guttation. Evaporation is the loss of water in the form of water vapor from the free surface. Now, as you have seen the differences, hence our chapter ends here. I hope you have understood well. If you have any questions, queries, you can send a message or comment on